Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our first show of the new year, which is starting on a grand note as far as our uh, members are concerned, because we are welcoming back the return of Mr. Demetrius Vergas. And we know it's been a long time, but we welcome him back. Hopefully, Spencer will be back. I know there's a lot of things happening still down there in the Alabama, Florida neck of the woods, especially as far as getting people back in the proper. Let's see. I'm going to. Okay, I think we're going to have to send Demetrius. Let's see. Maybe I can send it from here. Let's see. Let's see if I can do that. Uh, and let's see. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Uh, let's see if that helps. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, it says we're live, so I've sent new links to everyone, and let's see if that works. All right, there's my man. Oh my goodness, hold up, hold up, wait. Oh man, cornbread and Kool-Aid is back.
Mr. King, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I see you representing the Lions.
Of
Uh,
course, you knew you could have predicted that, right?
of course, I could have. Oh man, but most of all, man, it's good to have you back, man. We missed you, and you know, needless to say, 2022 was hard on a lot of us, but
Yeah,
you know, you bared the storm, and hey,
yeah,
anything we can do to kind of help brighten that, the atmosphere, we're
yeah,
glad, my man.
yeah. This is it. Getting back to a degree of normalcy and talking to my guys and my team about to go in the Lambo. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But a lot of it is, like real life happens. People go through stuff, and your faith gets tested. And I'm not the only one. I'm just glad to be back. Like I said, talking to my guys, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all the well wishes and the prayers and all that stuff. So thanks for that.
Yeah. What did you think about the Hamlin situation and the way it was handled by the NFL?
Oh man. So wow. Do I give the like nice, polite, right answer?
the, uh, the,
Or
the,
this is the
the,
crib though. This is the crib.
the sports crib hasn't changed since you
Okay.
left.
Um Everybody who got it, and for some people it was seconds, others it was minutes. Football stops mattering. when a guy's laying on the field and he's not breathing. And you just don't care. And anybody who's like got a heart immediately stopped and said, okay, whatever. You can't, I don't, doesn't even matter, right? And then you start thinking, okay, this is a 15, $20 billion a year business. Somebody's got to make a call. To me, it would have been simple. Raj should have went on a Zoom and got on ESPN and said, "Hey, I don't give a damn about the game. It's about this guy's life, right?" So we will figure all that out later. And somebody asked me today, why haven't they made a decision? Because you're human beings now. You have to dance this line of businessman and human being. So to me, I think that there was rumors that they told them they had 5 minutes to get ready. I've heard conflicting reports that said that never happened. There wasn't some thing that came from New York and said you guys got 5 minutes. It's just that's the normal protocol when somebody gets hurt. And everybody in that environment didn't understand the severity of that thing immediately. And I doubt if anybody in New York really got it. So I think there was a degree of, hey, you can't say anything to the fans right away because that ambulance has got to get out of there. And it can't be traveling through 50,000 people. So first prioritize the guy, prioritize the young man and what he needs, and then just have conversations like human beings, because you can't expect his friends, his brothers, his teammates, and even guys on the other side. You can't expect them to go perform. That, and I don't know if that's the right word. I feel bad saying that word. So my shorter answer is unprecedented situation. And I don't know if there was a right way to do anything other than prioritize the young man. Everything else waits. Everything else you can fix, you can solve, you can work out. But there are people posting, right? There were people saying stuff. Your boy Skip Bayless stuck his foot squarely in his mouth, and that's just what people do, because they're in a hurry to post opinion instead of giving it some time marinating and letting it become informed. My whole thing was, I don't, if you'd called the game immediately or 20 minutes later, doesn't matter, right? They were gathering info, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think you do anything until we get worried about how the young man's doing, because nothing else really matters, right? But
Well, now, see, uh, I'm agreeing with everything that you said. Uh,
except
no, no,
what?
oh, there is a but here.
Of course there is.
There's a
Tell the
but.
way you started it off.
Okay. Does anybody remember the game where Jack Tatum paralyzed
Yeah,
Dale Stingley?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Different times, different, uh, huge amount of money since then.
Hmm.
But the game went on.
But that's the difference is he wasn't breathing on the field, right? If they would have saw any movement, a thumbs up, and he was paralyzed, they would have played, right? If they would have played, and we both know they would have played, right? I saw a guy, Barry Sanders rushed for 2,000 yards. I don't want to get the year wrong. Part of me wants to say it was 93, might have been 98. I don't even know. This guy named Reggie Brown got paralyzed in that game, um, and the game went on. That that's not something we say positively, right? But what they look for is they think this is a game that about warriors, and once they get any kind of thumbs up that the person is going to, this guy wasn't breathing. They were doing CPR on the field. That's a whole different deal. It just, and that's why I use the term unprecedented. Since probably Chuck Hughes at Tiger Stadium in the 70s, my own Detroit Lions died on the field, right? I don't think anything like this has happened. Um, and now it's a different business, right? It's like I said, it's a different level of business now. I think if I don't know who you want to criticize. I don't think you can criticize the medical personnel in Cincinnati, because by all accounts they did everything they could as fast as they could, did a great job. People want to criticize the league for not canceling the game fast enough. I guess I don't even care. I didn't care. I didn't care if they waited an hour or two. Doesn't matter. Let the ambulance get the young man to the hospital and then figure out the rest. Figure out the
well,
rest.
I think the conflict came in when the announcers said, as you mentioned, we're going to give them 5 minutes and then
Yeah,
see what
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Somebody put
yeah,
that out
right,
there.
right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean, you heard it. If they had a replay, I mean,
yeah,
so you know, it was one of those times. If maybe somebody had checked, or somebody,
yep,
like you said, somebody you put their foot in their mouth,
yep,
or didn't realize the severity of the
right,
situation. But as you looked at it, I mean, it was immediately, you knew immediately
yeah,
that there was something wrong, because it wasn't like he grabbed an
yep,
appendage or anything. I mean,
exactly,
he just, it was like he had got hit with a straight right hand and there was nobody
right,
in front of
right.
it. It's like,
And
boom,
that's the big thing is he stood
know.
up, so you knew he wasn't injured. He got up. So my
Right.
thought was, oh, then the way he went down, like you said, is not an injury. That's something else. And then when I see grown men crying, yeah, we're at the next level. When they all kneel and pray, and then you see grown adult men like bawling. They're not just, oh, I'm worried about my teammate because he tore his ACL, and they will go pat that dude on his back and keep it moving. They've seen that. You see grown men standing on the side, shaking. When you hear like for some reason the thing that hit me the most was what's her name? It's a lady that works for ESPN. Her name is Lisa Salters.
Yes.
Like an hour later, Lisa Salters is talking about this and she's visibly shaken. You can hear it
Well,
in her voice.
the young man died. I mean,
I know.
wait,
Yeah,
he didn't pass out. He
I
didn't,
know.
it
Yeah,
wasn't like I mean, he didn't just lose consciousness.
yeah,
The young man died.
yep, yep.
you
When your heart stops
know,
beating, technically you have died. And
right.
they resuscitated him, and God willing, he somehow comes back. But I don't know. The criticism, if I have to, I don't think the league was prepared for something like that happening.
Of course
And
not.
quite frankly, right? Why would they
I mean,
be?
yeah,
How
right,
would they be?
right.
Um,
When you think of all of, how we talk about all the health issues, and
yeah,
all of the things that we have done to quote unquote make the game safe,
yeah, yeah.
why, why would that even be a contingency?
Yeah,
And the young
exactly.
man is 24 years
I
old.
know. And I think we're gonna find out that it is a statistically improbable. See, the smart people that I know talk about this. Talk about this thing where you can take a blow to your heart as your there's an electronic process
Right.
signals, right? I've heard enough people say if you get hit at the right moment, that's what happens.
Of
And the
course.
statistical improbability of it is such that I think there are people who just want to criticize, and they want to somehow blame the league, and there are people who have an agenda to get rid of this game, and they've had it for years, right? They're going to do what they do, and then some people just Twitter just bites you in the ass, and it's better to just marinate, listen. And for me, I saw it. Once I saw it, I didn't sleep well that night. And I'm not a Bills fan. I don't know the young man. It's just a human being kind of thing. It struck me, wow, this man, he got up this morning, you know, he just wanted to go to work and do his job. He went out there to just wanted to do his job. And and all you can do is what like everybody's doing, which is praying. Now I do love that. The upside is you see the humanity in our society. I talk to people about, you know me, I talk about racism in America and stuff. I'm engaged in stuff like that. And I always tell people sports is the equalizer, man. Nobody cares. Sports kind of transcends everything. And it's similar to like, I have jokingly said to people in conversations about race and sort of the vibe in America, the polarizing vibe in America right now is if we all pretended it was September 12th, 2001, the world would be a better place because we all had a perspective on September 12th, 2001. There was no split America. Everybody was good. And America was a great place to be as an American because we all came together in tragedy, obviously. So it wasn't the event itself obviously wasn't good. But it was similar on Twitter Monday night. You just started seeing, and the fact that he was trying to raise $2,500 for his charity, and last time I checked, it was over $5 million speaks to how like okay that's not just all Buffalo Bills fans, that is the sports community and how we transcend a lot of nonsense when something like this happens. So
But okay, now I want you, to we haven't heard from you in a while, so
Right.
I'm gonna kind of talk to you about a few things here
Sure,
because
sure.
we have seen an increase in sports deaths this year, especially among younger people. We had a young lacrosse player in high school
Yep,
that just had a similar
yep,
type of thing happen to him just days ago.
yeah,
Uh, do you think? I mean, I'm not saying bring back the good old days or nothing like that. Where we were brutalized, but I
right.
mean, but now with these, with less contact and more emphasis put on other things, uh, if you're going to be a boxer, you got to get hit. If you're going to be a football player, you got to get hit.
Yeah,
Uh, you
yeah,
know,
no way
uh,
around
you
it.
know,
Yeah,
So you know, do you think this shortening of practices and some of the rule changes? Do you think that this may have been an indirect cause of some of these injuries we're seeing? Because presumably, although we're thinking of the mental and physical more now, we concentrated on that physical side.
yep,
You had to be physical to play the game.
yep, exactly.
Do, do you think that the softness of the game is contributing to incidences like this?
Sure. I mean, amongst other things, it's not the only
No,
reason,
no,
right?
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would say
I'm
there's
just
a
saying
list of.
contributing
I,
factor.
I, I don't. Yeah, I think it probably is because I think what you're talking about is conditioning your body for the event, right? I had one to explain to my son. He was like, "Why is that boxer letting another man throw a giant ball at him?" And he's catching it. You're a boxing fan, so you know what I'm talking about, right? Why is he doing that? He is conditioning his body, his skin, his reflexes, but he's conditioning his body to take blows. Why? He didn't take a lot of blows in the match, right? Similar thing when there's some of it is that, some of it is supplements that are being used, some of it is how players work out and condition themselves, some of it is everything you said. There's a softening of the game and the rules that maybe now I'm not talking the Hamlin situation. I think ultimately that's going to be an outlier. That's going to be, I don't want to use the word freak incident. That's going to be an outlier. But what you're talking about is I think there's a way that athletes in the past prepared themselves, and there's a way that athletes now prepare themselves. I think athletes now probably try and work more on cardio and different conditioning things. And the human body is a vessel that's not designed to do everything. So I think your point is absolutely one of many, I think, contributors to it. And every incident probably has a degree of uniqueness, but at the same time, I think there is a common thread of how athletes prepare, how athletes condition, how athletes get themselves ready. That contributes to what you're talking about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron pays more to his nutritionist than a lot of people make in a year.
Right, right, exactly. Right.
So I mean, but would he be able to take a? He's a big guy, so this
Right.
might be a bad analogy, but I mean, would he be able to take a 7 game series with the bad boy Pistons? I
Nope.
mean,
No. I will answer that for you. The answer is no. And I
you
think in a moment of honesty, he himself would say, "Have you met Rick Mahorn?" Right? He would let you know. Yeah, I don't think so. What I'd
yeah,
say is
yeah.
simple. That's documented. Michael Jordan couldn't handle those, right? He had to hit the gym because he said flat out, "I wasn't tough enough." He admitted it in the stupid documentary that I hate. He said flat out, "I wasn't tough enough. I had to hit the gym." And they toughened him up. And you're welcome, Michael. You're welcome. I will speak for the Pistons and say you're welcome. But no, no,
uh,
that would be tough.
uh, let's stick on basketball here, and we'll talk a little basketball because I know you want to. Well, I want to talk about your Pistons too, but
Yeah.
in a different sense. Uh, because they haven't really done me bad in fantasy. So I can't so I can't complain.
That's
They're
good.
very they're very good bench players and very good role players. So I can't complain about that.
Yeah.
But uh, Donovan dropped 71 uh, on the Bulls the other
Yeah.
night, and immediately the NBA runs in with cups.
Right. Right. Right.
Uh, do you think that they do that when Steph hits 23?
I think it's one of my favorite things about the crib is you won't shy away from anything. You'll be like, wait a minute. And my thought on this was like, we're gonna talk about that. I already know we're gonna talk about that. I don't know. I know there are
and,
people who say
and you know I have no love for Cleveland. You know
right, right, exactly,
that.
exactly. So I knew it was, but I think it's a great topic. And when I thought about it, because my prep is usually I read what you send, and I just say to myself, what are your thoughts? Start formulating your thoughts on what that is, right? And I think I was stuck in this thing of I have historically been that guy who says I don't believe in coincidences, right? So I, I think there is. I think this is a coincidence, man. I mean, the rules say the agreement between the union and the owners are that they do, I think, 4 tests a year randomly during the season, and then I think they could do 1 or 2 in the playoffs. Right? I'm gonna need to see some evidence that this was targeted before I'm willing to go there. I want so badly. I wanted to go do some research and come right. I was gonna do all that, come in and go, you got it. This is a conspiracy. Truth is, I think this was just a coincidence that's too funny to ignore, too weird to ignore. Especially since Donovan went on Twitter apparently and dropped a really funny line. I didn't go check it out, but apparently he went on Twitter and made a point to mention that. So like, I scored 71 and I got tested or whatever. But I think it's just a coincidence. I
I
can't.
mean, Giannis dropped 55 the same night, right?
Right, right. But yeah, right. But listen, Donovan's a little chunky, and Giannis is a chiseled freak. So we think something's up. I don't know. I'm gonna need some more evidence. If I see something else, I'll revisit it. But right now, I'm gonna lean on the side of coincidence. That's just too funny. It would be too weird if they did that.
Oh man! All right, LeBron needs 485 points to pass Kareem as the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah.
When do you think he'll break? Do you think he'll break that record before March, considering the run that he's been on?
Yeah, I think I treated this like a math problem, but I didn't do the research. So some of this is kind of guessy. My guess is they got 20, 23, 25 games between now and March. So 485, I'm going to take 23 and say that's roughly 21 points a game, and Bron's averaging 29 plus.
If he averages 27 points a
Okay.
game
Yeah.
from now on, he would get to that number by March.
Oh, then yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because he's going to put a couple 40 burgers up. He's going to take a couple games off because of load management. And then, right, you got your load management games. I think he'll do it. I think if he's only got to average 27, even with a couple of missed games, I say he gets it done. Yeah, because he's playing, which at some point I'm gonna have to dedicate a final thoughts to this dude because it's getting ridiculous. His performance level and his age are not matching, and it's starting to piss me off because I know what I could do at 40, and it wasn't that. It wasn't close to that. I know what I could do at 20, and it wasn't that. No, yeah, I think he'll get it. Is there a significance to getting it before March? He's gonna get it, obviously, right?
No, the only significance is when,
Yeah, yeah,
not 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 how or
yeah.
who or but I believe that they're hoping that perhaps he can it'll be a home game,
Home game. Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And
But
I think once he announced, I don't know, a year and a half ago, that he wants to play with Bronny, we knew the record's gonna fall because just the sheer number of games he's gonna get that record. Because he was gonna have to play into what next year? No, maybe even the year after to play with Bronny. And so we knew that was falling. I don't know that any of us thought he would perform at the level he's been performing at and get there that quickly when he is. So I'm not surprised though.
I've always wondered, and maybe it's just because I always kind of look for that fatherly approval when I was playing sports.
Yeah,
But he always talks about playing with Bronny. But
yeah.
what about the pressure of Bronny playing with his dad?
Bronny ain't never said he wanted to play with his dad. Right. I hear you. And Bronny ain't never said anything like that, right? But Bronny doesn't get to say anything like that. He hasn't, he don't have anything to say about it, right? I wouldn't. I don't know how that would be, right? But by all accounts, they have a great relationship.
Oh
So
yeah, I mean, hey, Lamar Ball had great relationships with his son until they started making money. But I mean,
right, I
you
don't,
know,
I don't. Are we sure Bronny's good enough to play in the league?
see,
I don't want to assume that.
see,
And I'm not
see,
going to sit there and act
that
like I've watched his high
question,
school games because I haven't.
question number two,
Right,
you
right.
know,
So you run a
because
team? Do you just draft Bronny anyway? You draft Bronny no matter what? I I
you
don't
draft Bronny because you want a 40-year-old LeBron.
exactly. I would not. I do not. You set your team back 5 years for a year of LeBron? No, you do the ticket sales. I guess look at the ticket sales, see what happens. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
I mean, you know, I, like you said, I would do it. But let's talk about your team, the Pistons. Man, I mean, it seems like every year you get that, that piece that you need,
Yeah.
but then he can't stay healthy.
Right. Right.
So, talk to us about some of the problems that the Pistons have,
Yeah.
whether you're not or not. I mean, clearly they have some good pieces. Are they going to keep them together, or
Yeah.
what is the state of the Pistons right now?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of areas, and I'm going to split them up. So one, they are talented. They have young talent. First piece is young talent, and that's important because unlike maybe other leagues, the NBA is a league where cohesiveness matters, and you got a bunch of young dudes play. There's a reason that right now our best player is Bojan Bogdanovic, right? He's the only veteran on the team, and it's a bunch of young dudes. So defensive philosophy hasn't kicked in. We are horrific on defense, talented, but we don't understand defensive concepts yet. The second piece is the injury piece that you talked about. Primarily Cade. Cade is the centerpiece. Cade, I'm not saying Cade's the best player because in 2 years, people are going to be saying the name Jalen Duren in a different way. A lot of people don't know yet how good this kid who just turned 19 might be the best rebounder in the league already. If not, I'm calling it. 2 years from now, he will lead the league in reboundings. In rebounding. Um, and Jaden Ivey is probably the most explosive player on the team. Sadiq Bey's having a down year and might end up getting moved. But right now, it's Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. These are the key players on this team because they're so young. Now, the silver lining out of all this, we get another high draft pick. We get another high draft pick and add in, right. We get to add another. It might not be the Victor kid, but we're going to add another really talented player in the top 5 of this year's draft. The truth is, we're probably going to move Boyan in a month. Someone's going to offer us enough draft capital, future draft capital, where it'll make sense, and we'll continue to build in that way. But Cade's done for the year, and it was probably a smart move. Marvin Bagley III revived his career in Detroit and is now a legitimate rotational big. And if you haven't gotten a chance to watch the Pistons play when he's been healthy, I'm not sure what Sacramento was doing. I'm not sure what Sacramento was thinking, but we got him for a bag of practice balls and some Bitcoin, right? And he revived his career. So we re-upped him for 3 years. He just went down with 2 broken fingers in his hand. So he's gone for 6 weeks. There is a core there. Isaiah Stewart is a good young player. Jalen Duren is 19 and is already one of the best rebounders in the league. The backcourt is set. healthy Cade, Jaden Ivey. Killian Hayes has revived his career in those guys' absence. You need the veteran. Burks can be that veteran. I don't know what Sadiq Bey wants to do. I don't know what Sadiq Bey wants to do. Um, we have to
Sadiq
figure out
Bey
Sadiq
wants a
Bey.
paycheck.
Uh, Sadiq
Sadiq,
Bey's got to shoot better to get a pay. He really doesn't have to do a lot, but he's got to do that one thing well. And so I'm still on the bandwagon. My brother has bailed on him and told me you gotta trade Sadiq Bey for whatever you can get. I think somebody's gonna offer us a lot for Bogdanovich at the trade deadline, and Troy Weaver's gonna have to think about it. We're still 2 years away, and it's not for lack of talent. It is about guys have to play together for a while. I'm a Dwayne Casey guy. Other people have jumped off that bandwagon and think there needs to be a change. I don't. I don't. I everything I've read and heard about Dwayne Casey is this is a young team that has to learn defensive concepts. They haven't played together long enough. To your point, guys have been injured in and out of the lineup. Quietly, Isaiah Livers is a really solid young player. So we got a bunch of guys 3 years or less who haven't played a lot of games together, who play horrible defense because they don't understand concepts. But you have a young core. You have an injury problem you got to fix. Young core needs to learn how to play defense, and you still need to add talent, which they have the draft capital to do. So the state of them now is ugly. But I watched Killian Hayes grow into a really good player. I've watched Isaiah Stewart develop a jump shot that can make him a legitimate stretch four. If Hayes and Stewart progress year 3 to 4 like they did 2 to 3, you have two really good pieces there. Cade's a superstar. Healthy Cade Cunningham is talented. He makes other people better. He's a natural leader. He's everything you want. Ivy is explosive talent waiting to bust out. So it's all there. It's got to click. It's got to come together. I think there needs to be an experienced veteran in the locker room. So if they don't move Bogdanovich, I won't complain because he can ball, number one, and he is a solid, steady leader. Alec Burks, shockingly, to me, I didn't know anything about him. Alec Burks is a really good player. Let me put it this way: Alec Burks can shoot the basketball, which is kind of cool in the game of basketball, right? So I think there could be more veteran leadership in that locker room, but they have a lot of young talent, and when it clicks, it's gonna be fun to watch. They got to
uh,
stay healthy though, too.
for you fantasy basketball players, pay no attention to what Demetrius said about Jalen. You know, give him a couple more years to marinate, and I'll keep putting him on my bench.
Oh,
But
Jalen Duren's on your bench right now.
yes.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, keep him on the bench for now. But there's going
Oh
to be a
yeah.
time where we're going to be on the crib and you're going to go, "Hey, I had to take him off the bench. He's in the lineup." And I'm going to
Well,
say,
I mean,
"Yeah,
just because of his position that he plays,
right.
I had to put him on the bench. But I also had Cade,
Yeah.
and then he went
I
out
know you.
for
I
the
know you.
year.
I know you like
So,
Cade. We talk.
yeah,
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 Cade. And Cade's thing is fluke. Cade's not like injury prone or anything. He's had 2 injuries in 2 years, but both of them were flukes. So it's not like the guy is soft or anything like that. Cade's everything you want in a leader. Cade is he can play both guard positions. If he improves his jump shot, he's going to be a perennial All Pro. And if he's not, he will fit right in. That there's going to be a three-headed monster of Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, and Jaden Ivey that is going to remind people of Isaiah, Joe, and Vinny. And if you're not old enough to know who Isaiah, Joe, and Vinny are, then you shouldn't be listening to the crib. Go to bed, you young bastard. So, or look, no, Google them. That's what I'm supposed
yeah,
to say. Look
yeah.
them up.
Google. That's right.
Look up
Google.
Isaiah, Joe, and Vinny. That's two references to the Bad Boy Pistons in 30 minutes. I love it.
Yeah, I told you, it's not that uh, I don't appreciate Detroit. It's just it's a different era than the Detroit that I'm used to
Right,
seeing.
right.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, I had my Bad Boys T-shirt back in the day. You know, because
Yes,
because
sir.
I mean, anybody that was in the hood had on a
Right,
Bad
right.
Boys T-shirt.
Because they represent it. They represent. There are people who didn't live in Detroit wearing Bad Boy shirts.
Of course,
People
I mean,
out in the Bay, I know for sure, because they attach
that,
themselves to the Raiders. So there's a bunch of fans out in the Bay Area.
oh yeah, yeah. Um, the college football playoffs. Now, uh, couple of things happened
Yep.
that we didn't expect. Well, one we expected, but not quite under those circumstances that it happened.
Yeah.
The other was a total upset, and I don't know. It seems like Mike and Mr. Scott have very opportunistic about the days that they decide to take off. But that's a different discussion. Maybe Mr. Scott will be on later.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold out hope. But Mike told me that he wouldn't be here this week, but hopefully
Yeah.
he'll be back next week.
Yeah.
But Michigan, after what they did to my Buckeyes, I was ready for this. I was
Right.
psyched. I had my popcorn and Kool Aid ready. Okay, uh, and I was, hoping that Michigan wasn't going to make their comeback like they did against my Buckeyes,
Yeah.
and thankfully that they did not. The Georgia game, uh, I was ready to buy a Rebel jersey. I mean, I'm sitting here, just waiting. CJ did everything he could, did his job well. Dude, all you got to do is kick the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
wasn't even close. I would, maybe if it had hooked off to the side or something, I mean, but it wasn't even close. I mean, from the time he kicked it, but anyway, what was your take on those two
Yeah.
games and the outcome?
Yeah. So I put the blame squarely on the shoulders of both Jim Harbaugh and Ryan Day. They had a first down and they had timeouts and they could have gotten closer. And that play calling in that sequence felt to me like Ryan Day thought, okay, we're good. Bro, you're on at like 50, 51. You're not good yet. And a more because you had timeouts. So you're not worried about the clock or anything. You another 8, 10 yards. Now I don't know. Maybe he doesn't because the kick he made, but I believe that when you need the distance, I think the kicker takes a little bit of a different approach, right? You can kick a ball differently if you're kicking a 30-yard field goal versus 50 because you got to get that distance, and I think that affects accuracy. So sidebar, high level, I think both coaches lost their games. Separate, as a guy who doesn't give a damn about any of them, there's two entertaining games. There's two very entertaining games. I enjoyed both games. Now, the idea of did they go as expected? I think TCU and Ohio State were 3 and 4 for a reason because they're two of the top four teams in the country. I didn't expect a blowout in either game. I did not expect to be that entertained by either game. Um, am never sad when Michigan loses. I don't know what you want me to say right now. Mike ain't here, so he should be here to support his team. So, no, ultimately, Michigan beat themselves. They had the ball inside the 5 3 times and came away with no points. There's your game. Now, did the refs screw them? Maybe, maybe. But you don't fumble at the 1. You're supposed to punch that in. So you can use the refs and say, oh, was there targeting on the last play? You know what? I don't do that. My team ain't good enough for me to do that. So I'm sitting here saying coaching and execution for Michigan for sure. I think the 3-3-5 defense of TCU gave Michigan some problems they didn't expect. That's a unique defense that creates some problems. So Michigan, because of who they are, and you talk to somebody from Ann Arbor, and they got a ready-made list of excuses. The refs screwed us. We didn't have Blake Corum. Blah 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 blah. You lost the game.
We
You
lost
gave
Harrison. Come on,
exactly,
I don't
exactly.
want to hear nothing about
None
you.
of that. Right.
Can't, yeah, you can't tell me nothing about who you
Well,
lost.
at the end of the day, you gave up 48. You gave up a 48 burger. And again, as a somebody who doesn't give a damn, I enjoy watching it. Didn't hurt my feelings they lost. I had a good New Year. I didn't bother me one bit. I would say Ohio State's a very good team. Ohio State had one bad day against Michigan. You take the Michigan game out, Ohio State's a really, really good football team. So I wasn't surprised they gave Georgia all they can handle. And again, they should have won the game. I think they had a great opportunity to beat Georgia on a neutral site, and I think their coach got scared. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know. They played well enough to win that game, and I think in both cases, the two teams that lost, Michigan had more execution issues. You can't do two pick sixes. You can't fumble inside the one. You cannot turn the ball over in football. Look it up. If you win a turnover battle 3-1 or by more than two, you almost always win the game. Turnover is you removing an opportunity for yourself to score points and handing the other team generally a really good opportunity because you're either deep in your own territory, so that's 7 points or three you could have gotten. In Michigan's case, 3 touchdowns they should have had. They didn't get because they turned it over. And pick sixes are obvious. That's 14, but you handed them, right? So Michigan didn't play well, but I think both coaches failed. Frankly, Michigan got out coached. The 3-3-5, they weren't prepared for the 3-3-5. It gave them problems it shouldn't have, and they just didn't execute. Even with that, if they execute, they probably win the game. Ohio State deserved to win that game. They did, and I think their coach. I don't know what the word is because I don't know. He didn't seem like he got scared, but I think he got comfortable. You tell me what the word is. At that point, they had first down and they had timeouts. I think you're aggressive. You say, "Yo, I need 15 more yards." And you have the team and the weapons to get 15 more yards with the timeouts to not put all that pressure on your kicker. Now, that being said, you're absolutely right. You got one job, bro. Make the kick. Make the kick. You got one job. Make the kick. So, but honestly, those are two good games, man. Those are two
Yeah,
really good games.
yeah. Now another game I enjoyed, and I'm like you when it comes to giving you know uh, kudos to the opposition, but I enjoyed that Penn State game
That
also.
was that was a good game. That was a
you
good game.
know, and I haven't, I mean, I've been the enemy of Penn State
Yep.
since Joe Paterno, but
Right.
that was a
Exactly.
good game.
Yeah. Yeah. That
That
was.
was a good game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was one who said they didn't deserve to be there. They didn't deserve to be there, right? But you have all the alignments and the agreements, and I didn't. But no, again, we had some good football games this bowl season. That was a good game. And I don't like James Franklin. I have fundamentally a problem with the university. I don't like James Franklin. It goes back to a Michigan State thing, but that was good. That might have been one of the better games. Well, that was a good game. There were some good games.
Now, what about the Big Ten overall?
Yeah.
When you look at the way that they're performing, other than the top three teams that we're talking about, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State,
Yep.
and now with the coming of UCLA and USC, both of which got their asses kicked also. But what do you think about the overall quality of the Big Ten teams when it comes to the postseason?
Yeah.
It seems like no matter how good or how many kudos we give to the Big Ten, we have not been that successful in bowl games.
Yeah. Outside of you guys, not many of us play the style of football that they play in the SEC or the ACC for that matter. Now, I think the future's bright. Oh, Don Hayes announced. Uh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think.
Don, I have to let you know, Don is one of the guys that made sure that we moved the show to Wednesday night, so that you could participate.
Oh my guy,
So Don,
my guy.
Don,
That's awesome. All I need is a Ranger Hayes sighting to make my night. So where is he? All right, yeah, I need to see him. So yeah, I think the Big Ten plays a different kind of ball. Now I think with Matt Rule coming to Nebraska, I think Luke Fickell going to Wisconsin. I think UCLA and USC, once we figure out the structure, which I don't know. I mean, if they ask me, I have a way to do it. It's easy, but you need to go get me 2 more teams before we can do this in a smart way. You can move Purdue to the east and do some stuff. Overall, unless I think we're going to be fine. We had a down year, but Mel Tucker's recruiting his ass off. And like I said, I think Matt Rule's going to be successful in Nebraska. He's going to bring a different style. He's going to bring the Big 12 style to Nebraska, which is going to change the way the West looks. Wisconsin is Wisconsin. Fickle's going to play Wisconsin ball, and this is what that is. I think in all the conference will be fine. I don't know that we'll ever in these bowl games be successful outside of the top guys. The top guys. You guys will always compete because you guys play that way. We'll never be that. We'll never play that. Or maybe. I think we'll always be the team that runs the ball, play action. We will beat you in the snow because 4 of our games are going to be in the snow near the end of the year. And then we're going to go down to the Fiesta Bowl in a dome stadium and get smoked by SEC or ACC team, which I don't care. I want the check. It's fine with me. Fine. And we're not playing for the Natty. I don't care if we lose in a New Year's Six bowl. The check's going to clear. I'm not the guy. I'm thinking this is a business. The check's going to clear. So I don't know if the Big Ten will ever. I think they want to do that with USC and UCLA, but you got to go get 2, maybe even 4 more teams if you want to be a true super conference and you want to get that recruiting. The problem is at a very base level, we'll never recruit Texas, and Don Hayes knows this. The best players in the country come out of 5 states, right? That's just Texas being number 1. It's Texas, it's Florida, it's Georgia, it's Ohio, and I'm forgetting somebody out. California.
California.
Yeah, California. The best players come out of 5 states, more likely, right? And there's good players that come out of Michigan and Indiana and whatnot. If you can't recruit those 5 states, you can't compete on a national level. I don't think we care about that. I know who I am. My school wants to win the Big Ten, wants to go to Indianapolis, and wants to get that New Year's Six check. I'm not stupid enough to think Michigan State's ever going to win a national title. If we do that, I'm going to be on the crib being a real asshole, a next level asshole. If we are playing for a natty. In 15, when we went to the college football playoff, I was on a cruise ship wearing my Michigan State shirt, and I went and sat down in the bar on the cruise ship. And the guy from Alabama said, "Good luck." I said, "Y'all about to wipe the floor with us, but I don't care. It's New Year's. We're in the playoff, and I'm on a cruise." And sure enough, it was 31-0 into the first quarter. I went about my business. It's okay. It's okay. I know who we are. You know, we're not built like that, but we can do what we do, be successful, raise money, and cash those New Year's Six checks. That's what I'm about. So the high level answer to your question, there's 2 or 3 schools. Michigan, if they want to, but we got to see where they go. Ohio State will always kind of be there. And I think USC and UCLA are equipped to compete in bowl games against SEC and ACC teams, even Big 12 teams. But I think the SEC is just they've got a handful of states kind of on lock, and some of it is as simple as speed. It's speed, and it's Texas football, and it's speed of kids in Florida, and it's we can't recruit those states the way Texas, A&M, even Alabama, Georgia. We can't recruit those states like those schools. We're never going to get a top 10 kid out of Georgia to come to where? Ohio State, maybe. Michigan, possibly. That's it. Penn State, Michigan State, nope, no chance. No chance. That kid's got a short list. It's probably Alabama, Georgia, Texas, maybe Ohio State and Michigan. That's that 5. That top player in Georgia, top player in Florida. Those kids aren't coming to Michigan State. So I accept who we are and what we are. Ohio State's our best chance. Depending on what Michigan wants to do, meaning what Harbaugh does, how they want to evolve as a school. But UCLA and USC have a chance to be schools that can play with those others because they got California.
I mean, is it East Lansing or is it LA?
East Lansing. right. Exactly. Where do you want to spend your fall, son? East Lansing, Michigan, some of the most beautiful farmland in America. Or Los Angeles. We're agricultural college. We know who we are. I love my school and I root for them every time. Every transfer portal kid, whatever. But I know who we are and my expectations are level. Right. Michigan State was playing Alabama that day. But I wore my shirt, but I wasn't stupid. Right? I told people, look, I know what's gonna happen. But I can be an a-hole until kickoff. I thought I had to halftime. Turns out that shit was over into the first quarter. I didn't even get into the second quarter, and I had to take off the shirt. It was New Year's Eve, so I needed to get dressed anyway, or a party.
Don, how are you doing? It's our first show of 2023. I take it your New Year's was fine. I saw you had just came back from the Holy Land. I believe that was that our last show.
Yeah,
Demetrius, Don went to Israel.
Nice. That is awesome.
yeah. Went with my church and saw the sights, and now I'm back here. Walked into what we call mountain cedar fever. I got a sore throat. I've been
Oh
sneezing,
no.
runny nose. So I might have to get up and blow my nose later, but
Look,
I'm
this guy
good though.
toughed it out and showed up. Showed up for the crib.
I did.
Not
I did.
feeling well. Love it.
So, Don, we were talking about the college football playoffs, and we were talking about the difference between how TCU had handled number 2 Michigan, and the fact that uh, uh, Ohio State was a field goal away from playing for the national title. What did you think about the approaches of those 2 coaches and the 2 games in general?
Well, I thought for the semifinals and the college playoff, I mean, it's probably the best I've ever seen from all four teams. They were just amazing. You know, I think I might have mentioned this before on the show. I don't know, but the Hayes family and the Dykes family, Sonny Dykes, we go back a long way.
Nice.
His dad and my dad were fishing buddies. Spike Dykes, when he was at Texas Tech, he recruited me. When he was on the staff at UT with the Darrell Royal and Fred Akers, he actually spent the night at our house the night Earl Campbell won the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, nice.
And so I've known Sonny since. I mean, he's a year younger than I am, so that's kind of where we are. But so I'm kind of partial. I love the fact that the Horned Frogs are playing for it all, and God bless Sonny Dykes. He's a great guy, just like his dad, just like his mom. Um, I think that win against Michigan was probably the biggest win in TCU history. Uh,
Until next week.
yeah, until next week. Yeah, they were underdogs. And so like you were saying that you don't expect Michigan State to win national championship. I would have thought Michigan State would have been in the playoffs before TCU. Keep in mind, TCU was picked, I think, fifth in conference this year,
Yeah.
and they went to undefeated to the championship game. But they played lights out. They have a very strong senior class, and their quarterback Max Dugan was even a starter at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't sell your Spartans too short just yet, because you never
No,
know
we
what's going to
yeah,
happen.
we got there in 2015, and I think, I love our coach. We'll be back, but I love the TCU story. There's NFL players on that roster, by the way. Don't get fooled. There's not some cute little thing. They got NFL players on that roster, man.
Yes, they do. Yeah, yes, they do.
I do love the story
Well,
though,
yeah.
because obviously I hate Michigan, so it was beautiful for me to watch.
And, and we're not saying that that they're going to be first or second rounders. That's necessarily, but as you say, some of them will be playing on Sunday.
They got
Uh,
Sunday guys on that roster for sure.
Don, before I go any further, we were talking. We were also giving our respects to the young man on the field, Mr. Halen, and we kind of addressed how it seems that there have been many more incidences of young men either losing their lives or having incidents uh, within our sport. We just had a young man not too long, I think it was last week, playing lacrosse. Very similar incident. Uh, Don, and I'm thinking, does it possibly have any correlation between the difference in the amount of physical training that we had back in our day and the way that these combat sports are approached today? I mean, we also see a lot of the same things happening in the boxing ring, much more so than when they were using concrete gloves.
Well, I've been keeping up with the causes in uh, what I've heard from more than one doctor, actually two or three, is that whenever your heart beats, it sends out an electrical impulse, and I mean, if you get hit in the right spot or the wrong spot,
Yeah.
in between beats, your heart goes into cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
I've heard of an incident actually in lacrosse, it happened a few years ago. The young man, same thing. The lacrosse thing hit him in the chest, and he went down. They had to resuscitate him, and 3 weeks later, he was signed a scholarship at Duke to go play college lacrosse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're young and healthy, and God is blessing you, you're gonna recover from that. And the last I heard is that he's getting better.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. And
that's a great sign.
Yeah. So to me, I would rather. This sounds bad. I think I'd rather have that happen than have like a blow to the head that triggered an aneurysm, because then it's kind of hard to recover from that. So just keep him in your prayers, and just pray that God keeps working his life, and his family has great support, and of course the eyes of America are on him. So
yeah. And let's make it clear that we're not talking about the young man as a football player. We're talking from the humane point of view, looking at him as another human being, and
he's a son. He's a son. He's a brother.
Right.
He's,
right. And the quality of life afterwards, if he never plays another down of football. That's
not important. I just thought I was that game. I would my Monday night routine is I go and fill up my iced tea, and I get on my recliner like I am now. There's a TV right over here.
Yeah,
and I have on background noise. I like to watch the Manning.
That's to get my A&W.
Yeah,
there you go. But I watched the Manning. I like the Manning telecast, but I was just flipping through, and I had gone to the bathroom, came back, and there's a crowd gathered on the field. I didn't see the actual play because I believe there's a score right before that, so kickoff. So I just got there, and then like, what the hell's happened? So I sit there, watched for the next 45 minutes. I was like, oh my God, and just I saw the replay. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was telling James I didn't even sleep well that night. I sat and watched for more than an hour. Just it grabs your perspective. And by the way, I'm Mountain Dew, but it's zero sugar. Zero sugar. In case my sister's watching, I am a diabetic. I'm being responsible.
Hey, I'm diabetic.
Yeah, it hit me differently.
You guys can have that club. I'm sorry, not trying to join anytime soon.
Good for you, bro. Good for you. It ain't a club we want you in, by the way. It hit me differently, because you just immediately stop caring about, games, and at that point, I had spent the 24 hours after the Lions did what they did to the Bears, and we got a shot. I was on cloud 9. Then it was just like, wait a minute, this is real life. It's real life, and I've gotten more engaged with Twitter because I've had some time during my downtime, and I'm not happy that I've become more engaged with. I saw some of the worst, but a lot more of the best. And so I ended up like feeling better by the end of the night, seeing how people, and it sucks that it takes tragedy. Yeah. I told James earlier, I remember what it was like being an American on September 12th, 2001, right? Why don't we still act like that? Why don't we still treat each other like that, right? It takes tragedy and something like that to bring out the best. And that's unfortunate. But right now, football, it's whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I think we all just want to get a SportsCenter update that says the young man's awake and alert. That's all we want. We'll get back to normal. We'll go back to being assholes after that, right? But we all just need that breaking SportsCenter news that the young man's awake and talking to people. And then we can get back to being silly. And I think it's all you could do is pray for him. Like I said, that's we just got to keep praying for him.
Yeah, that's about all. That's all that we can do
Yeah,
ourselves. And I think just hey, I'm also one of those people that believes in karma. So
yeah,
I do believe that there are still great things in store for this young man,
absolutely.
whether it's on or off the field.
This might
Uh,
be his testimony. This might be his
yeah,
testimony.
yeah,
You never
yeah.
know, right?
And it-
God's got a plan for him in this.
I tell you what was amazing is he has that charity for giving toys to disadvantaged youth, and
Yeah.
it went like from
but but
a couple $100,000 to like several million overnight.
Right.
So I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
well the young miss see and once again, I got to play. I got to take Demetrius. I've been taking your place. While you've been gone. The
Old
old
man, get off my
man,
grass.
right?
Black socks, get off my grass,
And
kid.
I'm thinking, it was for a good cause, and it was for a very small amount of money.
Yeah.
Why did it take this type of tragedy for a young man that was just trying to raise $2,500, less than some people make in a month?
Right.
But it took this type of tragedy in order for his particular cause to be recognized. And as you say, Don, now I think the last count was over $5 million.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
I don't think it necessarily took that. I think what happens is in a moment of tragedy, people want to do something.
Yeah.
Right? People want to do something because we
well,
all get hit with
that
this.
goes back to that date that you just mentioned.
Right.
In a moment
Right.
of
That's what
tragedy,
happened.
everybody
You
wants
want
to
to do
do
something.
something.
And that was somebody brilliantly, some friend of his, might have been his business manager, just put that out there. Hey, say prayers for him. And if you want to do something, hey, look at this cool thing he was doing. And then you saw the best of humanity. The best of humanity flooded this thing. And so that was to me was I think beautiful is the only word I could think of, because that's just people saying, I wish I could get in a car, drive to Cincinnati, put my hands and wake him up, but none of us can do that.
Yeah.
But we want to do something. So we say our prayers, and then it's like, oh wow, let's get some kids in Buffalo, or maybe it's in Pittsburgh where he's from. I feel like it's in Pittsburgh. Let's get a bunch of kids some toys in his name. Maybe it's in Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Well, he played in Pittsburgh. He's from a
He
little town,
grew up in Pittsburgh, right? Yeah.
right, a little town, not far away.
Yeah.
You could say in the metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Don, where does Harbaugh coach next year?
Well, I don't think he'll be at Michigan. Everything I'm hearing is that if he gets the right offer in the field, and I think there's 3-4 teams who are just waiting to, get rid of their coaches. I don't really know where he'll end up, but I think he's shown a leaning towards wanting to go back to the NFL. He went to Michigan. He beat Ohio State twice, 2 years in a row. Got to the playoffs. So I think he kind of said, "Yeah, I'm a Michigan guy. I have scoreboard on the Ohio State. Now I'm ready to go back to the NFL." That's just why I see it. I mean, Michigan would have to come up with some money. I'm sure they could to keep him, but I don't know if he's about money or not. I mean, he's
nope.
He had the life he's had, the last 25 years. You don't need money.
Demetrius?
Don just nailed it. He's flirted with NFL jobs the last 2 off seasons. I think his objective, and I use that word because he's kind of a robot, was to get the Michigan program back to national prominence. And I think he can look in the mirror and to anybody face to face and say, I've done that. I've gotten the program back to where I want it to be. This is the longest he's ever held a job. It's time to go. It's time to go. And it's publicly known that the job he wants is open right now. He wants to coach the Colts. He wants the Indy job. He talked to the Panthers today. The Broncos are going to make a run, but it is public knowledge that he wants the Colts job. I think he came to Michigan because they were in shambles and he felt some obligation as a Michigan man to come and get the program back on track. I don't think he thought it was going to take this long. I think he was arrogant, like most people in Ann Arbor are, and he thought he was going to do it in a year or two and be back in the NFL 3 years ago. But I think he can look now, and if the objective, which with those people, it might have been a natty, but I think he can look and say, I have brought the program back to national prominence. We're top 5, 6, 7 recruiting. We've been to 2 playoffs back to back. Like Don said, we scoreboarded Ohio State 2 years in a row. I'm good. Now here, you guys, I have cleaned up this mess. I've swept up all the crap, and now this house can go on the market. Right? I came in and did what I said I was going to do, and now he's going to get a fat check from Jim Irsay and go to the Colts, is my opinion. So your question was, no, he won't be at Michigan. And if I had to predict, I'd say the Colts.
So, Demetrius, can I ask Demetrius a question?
Sure.
Because you're up in that part of the country.
Yep.
Is there any kind of split Ohio State about Luke Fickell and Ryan Day?
Yes.
Because I know there's a bunch of people at Ohio State that's hoping Luke Fickell would come and take over, but
problem is you were in the playoffs.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So you're gonna fire Ryan Day when before the guy to ask is the guy in the other part of the screen. He's more of an Ohio State fan, but I know for a fact because I lived in Ohio for 8 years. There are people on that campus that liked Fickell more. The problem is, how do you come to the podium when your team is preparing to play in the playoff and say, yeah, we're going to fire Ryan Day and hire Luke Fickell? And if you're Luke Fickell, do you sit around, see if they get smoked by Georgia and fire him anyway? Or do you take the big fat Wisconsin check and the block of cheese that comes with it, right, and go to Wisconsin? What do you do? So It was a timing thing at most. But to answer your question, yeah, there's a large group of people who wish Luke Fickell was still available and they would still fire Ryan Day today after he took him to the college football playoff. And the guy on the screen might agree with that. I don't even know. We can ask him.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, so like the way it works in Texas is many years ago at A&M, there's a coach named R.C. Slocum.
Yep.
He's their all-time winningest coach.
Yep.
And he lost like 3 or 4 straight to Texas. He still won. He was still won games.
Yep.
But he started losing to Texas, and they fired him.
Yeah.
With the winning record. And so I'm thinking, if Ryan Day if he keeps losing to Michigan,
exactly,
he can go 11-1. If that one loss is to Ohio State, people, Texas fans will go ape shit over that.
If he loses a third,
well, they've done it. The guy's name was John Cooper. John Cooper was dominant. He just couldn't beat Michigan. And they fired John Cooper. John Cooper was a really good coach. Ohio State has a roadmap on how to do this.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. A third is certainly going to cost him his job.
Yeah.
If he makes it through
in most cases, by you making it to the bowl, at least to the playoffs,
that saved him.
We'll take 2 strikes.
Right.
But there is no third.
Yeah.
And there's certainly no walks given.
And to your point, if Luke Fickell hadn't taken the Wisconsin job, we would be talking about this right now. There would be people in Columbus scheduling meetings going, wait a minute, Luke's available, right? That would be a real topic.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Demetrius, Georgia repeat or TCU upset?
So the general consensus is a Georgia repeat, but I am not in that camp. Call it hot take or whatever. I think that 3-3-5 defense that they play causes a unique set of problems. I watched it happen to me. And oh, by the way, their offense is prolific. They're going to score points. I know Georgia's got 3 or 4 top 10 picks on their defense. Whatever. I don't care. They're going to score. Max Duggan's not a joke. That team has NFL talent on both sides of the ball. You can keep going, it's TCU if you want. They're going to sneak up and punch you in the back of the head and steal your wallet and take your girlfriend out on a date. That's how this works. So I'm calling for the upset. I am. I don't not because I have any dislike for Georgia. There's a couple of those players I hope are Detroit Lions next year. I got to be honest with you. But I like the idea. Like, it would just be such a great thing for college football if TCU was the national champs, beating Georgia and do it their way, which is just like this. You want to say words like swashbuckling or some nonsense like that. I hope they win. I want them to win, and I think they're good enough to win. People just are sleep. They're seeing TCU. They're making horned frog jokes, and they're not looking on the field and seeing the talent and the coaching. He knows his talent. The 3-3-5 defense is going to cause some unique problems, and it's going to allow them. They're going to put up a 40 burger on Georgia. Absolutely. If Ohio State did what they did, TCU's putting up 40. Now, will Georgia put up 50? Possibly. Possibly. TCU's going to show up, and they're going to score a bunch of points. So I think it's going to be a great watch, and I'm actually calling for the upset, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Not because I have anything bad to say about Georgia. Nah. I'm going with the upset.
Don, the best Georgia defense that we've seen, I think, in the last at least 5 to 10 years, got beat by Alabama for the national championship.
Yeah, that was a better team.
So, Don, what are you doing here? Georgia repeat or TCU upset?
Texas. He's about to pull out a Texas State flag right now.
Well, let's say this: Michigan beat Ohio State. Ohio State gave Georgia a very good game, and TCU just manhandled Michigan. So, if you look at it that way,
he wants to do it so bad, but he's trying.
I'm a Demetrius. I think TCU is going to win. Probably on the late drive in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I like TCU. They're hungry.
Yep.
It's like Rocky Balboa versus Clubber Lang. He's got that eye of the tiger, and right now TCU is Clubber Lang in the first fight.
Yeah,
they're hungry. Georgia, they've been there. They're champ. I'm going for TCU and Clubber Lang.
This is the biggest game in the history of that program.
Yeah.
In the history of that, and it can change that program forever. If they get to hold up a natty, you're talking a decade of recruiting, right? All of a sudden they can walk into living rooms and say, "Hook what? Hook what?" Right? He can walk in there and go,
well,
with a big giant ring on his finger and say, "I understand you want to go to Austin or wherever A&M is. I don't know. Lubbock? No, I don't know where.
College Station.
College Station. Sorry. Who's in Lubbock? Waco?
Tech.
Oh, Texas Tech. Okay. All right. So any of those schools, right? And he can just have this big old fat ring on his finger. And first of all, he's got to wade through all the people who are going to try and steal him. Because Sonny's about to get some offers he's never heard of. Sonny's about to get buckets of money thrown at him. And I don't know if he stays or not. But this defines a program. You do this, you're in the books. The Horned Frogs are not a joke anymore. They're national champs. You think about what that would do for the school. I mean, the checks are going to clear for these games, which is great. But now you can recruit differently, and you can hire a different set of coaches, and you got boosters coming out of the woodworks. People are going to be running around there wearing those shirts, and it's such a big deal. And for Georgia, it's just another game.
I'm not betting the house, but I do have the hinges off the back door.
I'll bet your house. I ain't betting
well, guys, let's get down to some NFL. Demetrius, maybe for your first show, we can keep it down to 2 hours. We'll see. But let's give it a try.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Due to the lack of draft picks and the salary cap, Demetrius, do you think that Matt Stafford and Baker Mayfield will both be on have on the Rams uniform next season?
No. Short answer is no. I think their cap situation is difficult. I mean, their cap is weird. They've done some stuff with draft picks and cap stuff, signing Von Miller and extended Stafford. Even the injured receiver who's escaping me, sorry, from the Giants. What's that kid's name? Odell Beckham. All the stuff they did their Super Bowl year really kind of jacked up their cap. But here's the deal. You guys know I love number 9. Matthew Stafford is probably the only former Lion I still love and always will. But he got a concussion. So now we're talking different stuff. In Detroit, he once hurt his hand. He hurt his shoulder. Concussion's a different deal. But somebody is going to make the mistake of throwing a boatload of money at Baker. Probably the Colts, because they want to keep retreading quarterbacks. But somebody's going to give Baker money. So I don't know if you can do it. I don't know if you can put that much money in the quarterback room. Stafford's under contract. His number's significant, but he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, so it should be. So I think what you're likely to see is they will probably draft a guy, right, to try and develop him, and then I think you go out and you sign some veteran to a Mariota type of signing, somebody to be in the room in case something goes down. Now, all this hinges on Stafford. I can tell you from experience, Kelly Stafford, who I'm very fond of, her time in Detroit, the Staffords did way so much for Detroit. I'll always be fans of the Staffords. Kelly Stafford would have no problem if Matthew hung it up. Kelly has been vocal. Kelly has kept no secrets. Kelly wouldn't mind if Matt just said, okay, I'm good. So then you got a whole different sort of thing going there. If that happens, well, your question becomes moot, but Baker might be the quarterback. I don't think you can pay Baker to be Stafford's backup what somebody else is going to pay Baker to either come and compete or come and start, right? A team like the Texans might draft Bryce Young and say, hey, Baker, come drive the bus for a year while the kid gets ready. That's the way the NFL works. The Colts will take anybody over 35 who'll sign a deal, and we can just follow in those footsteps. But so the short answer to your question is no, I don't think the cap will allow it, largely because somebody's going to offer Baker a lot more money.
What do you think, Don?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Demetrius. Baker Mayfield is someone is going to go after him. I'm not sure which team. There's teams out there that could probably use his skill set. The thing about Baker, he's so unpredictable. He'll go in the game and he'll complete 7% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. And then the next 2 games, he'll be, a turnover, excuse me, a turnover machine, and flops. So you just don't know what Baker Mayfield's going to get. So people will spend money just on his potential.
Yeah.
And then look like, well, why do you do this to us when he starts, playing like?
He's going to eventually go Baker. We all know sooner or later he's going to go Baker. It was back in Oklahoma when he was making gestures to fans from the sidelines. That's a character trait. That doesn't go away. He's going to go Baker.
And the fact he got, run down by DPS troopers in Arkansas. I mean, they ran him down.
That was great. That was so great.
I know he's drunk, but I mean, the fact that you could outrun a trooper, come on.
Don blew right past the fact that he was drunk and judged him for not being able to outrun a trooper.
Hey, back in my drinking days, I could get a 5-1-40 drunk.
Yes, sir. 5-1. He's thinking do a 5-1-40.
You do it naked.
Nice. I mean, what other way would you do that? Drunk running from the cops.
Don, right now, the way things are shaping up, the Ratbirds could finish 6th and face the Bungles if the Bungles fall from to number 3.
Yeah.
Now, Don, do you think that the Ratbirds will give in to Lamar's demands if he beats the Bungles and advances to the playoffs? And if he doesn't, they'll put the franchise tag on him. What do you think is more likely?
Well, my whole philosophy on that is he still has his game. And I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I think they should keep him there until he goes, south. But he still gives his heart and soul, and he can still run the ball. He can still throw it. So I'm thinking they should uh, give in to his demands, whatever they may be. Within reason. I mean, you don't give up your firstborn or anything like that, but yeah, I think he's worth it.
Well, what do you think, Demetrius? I mean, they had 250 on the table before, but it wasn't guaranteed like it was for uh, uh,
Watson.
Watson, and that was the sticking point because supposedly Lamar wants that guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Does he get a contract if he beats the Bengals? And does he get that dreaded franchise tag if he doesn't?
So I'm going to say that what happens against the Bengals doesn't matter, right? Here's the thing. You said the guaranteed money was a sticking point. The guaranteed money is the sticking point, right? Deal is. I don't think it matters. I think they don't want to get on that franchise tag slope, right? We saw that in Washington with Kirk Cousins years ago, and it only gets worse. The franchise tag, as it was designed and put into the agreement, by design, it benefits the players and it punishes the team. And every time you do it, the punishment is worse. And there's risk for the player, which is why Lamar's not playing now, right? It is important to understand that you need to simply make a decision as a business. Do we intend to pay this man? The cute term we use now is give the man his bag, securing the bag. They know right now. But Shadi knows, whoever their GM is, I don't know his name, and John Harbaugh, they all know. What do we intend to do? Now, they might say, we think we've seen the best of Lamar, let him go, and we'll address our quarterbacks. Then let him go, right? You play the franchise game, the team always loses. There's never been a case where the team has won. Because maybe you get another year, but you got to pay him a boatload of money. And then what? Do it again next year? You do that twice. You have literally, we're way after dark. You have pissed away so much money playing the franchise tag game. Make the decision right now. Is Lamar our quarterback? Yes or no? And if he is, give the man 5 years, fully guarantee it, and let's move on. If he's not, let somebody else give him 5 years fully guaranteed because teams will line up to do it. And then you move on with that cap space and do whatever you do. That's how the game works. The reason you drafted him at the end of the round was to get that extra year, and you did it. Now either pay the man or don't. If you play that franchise game, it's going to be tough because he's going to get to the end of next year and he's going to do, hamstring. Why would he? Because there's another bag waiting. And why is he going to go out there and put himself at risk when the bag is waiting? That's the risk to the player. There's a bag waiting for Lamar. Maybe it's in Baltimore. Maybe it's somewhere else. Why would Lamar do that? I think Lamar, we know who Lamar is. A game against the Bengals doesn't change that. And the Ratbirds know whether or not they want Lamar to be their quarterback for the next 5 years or not. A game against the Bengals isn't going to affect that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, as an organization, they've had these meetings, they've had these conversations, and they know what they want to do. And if they have, then what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Just pay the man and move on.
They can always call Jerry Jones, ask him how that works out.
Right. Exactly. The franchise tag is really, really detrimental to the team.
Demetrius, can the Titans win without Derrick Henry running for more than 100 plus yards?
They can, but it'll be much harder, right? My recommendation is that you find a way to get him over 100.
Isn't Dobbs the starting quarterback? Yeah.
No, your point is well taken, right? But I think everybody in Jacksonville knows that too. So, but at the end of the day, if to me, my feeling is running the ball sets up everything else, and you have one of the best in the game. So commit to the run, make them stop him. So it's always been like, I've heard teams use this term, take what the defense gives you. No, Hell no. We're going to do what we do. And if you stop me from doing what I do, I'll shake your hand at the end of the day and say, congratulations. I'm not going to go away from, I'm not going to put the game on the shoulder of Dobbs when I got Derrick Henry. So he better rush for 100 yards just because they keep giving him the damn ball. Even if they lose, he should rush for 100 yards. So I think running the ball helps them do everything that they do. Everything they do is predicated on Derrick Henry and play action. You have to commit to the run. You have to be this really, really disciplined and say, we're giving Derrick Henry the ball. And if you do that, which Vrabel's demonstrated what he's going to do, him rushing for 100 should be obvious. Everybody in Jacksonville should know that. Does that automatically mean they win? So I think your question is, does he have to rush for 100 for them? No. Can they win if he doesn't? I'm actually going to change my answer. If he doesn't rush for 100 yards, they lose the game because it probably means they got behind early and they've been throwing and they couldn't give him the ball. That's my guess.
Don, what's your thought? Does Derrick
hey guys, I need to step away for a quick second. I'll be right back. All right.
I think he could run for, 88 yards and 4 touchdowns and still win the game.
that I guess that would be quite a scenario there, but how did they get that?
I know what you're saying. So they need to feed the beast.
That means that he would have to have at least one touchdown of 60 yards or more, Don.
Well, I never mentioned how many carries he had. I said 3 touchdowns. But I mean,
well, 88 yards. I mean, 88 yards and 3 touchdowns. One of those has to be a long one, or else somebody did something to get him down that close to the goal line.
Oh yeah. So I'm just saying, sometimes stats are deceiving. He might get 88 yards, only 88 yards because they got such a big lead, and they, So I mean, you just never know. But whenever you rush the ball more than as a team, if you have 175 yards rushing as a team, you're usually going to win. 200 is better, but if he has 100 yards, the chances are they're going to win. That's just one of those statistics. The games that Bijan Robinson had over 100 yards in this year at Texas, they were undefeated. The games he had less than 100 yards, they didn't win.
Yeah. Don, Mr. Scott isn't here, but we've seen some of these debacles put up by the Vikings, and it looks as if the current playoff picture that the Vikings are going to be playing the Giants. Don, who wins that game?
Oh, I like the Vikings. The Giants they've done better than I thought they would, but I like the old purple people leaders. I've been a admirer of the Vikings for a while now, so I think they would beat the Giants.
But Don, did you see that they held Jefferson to one catch? Was it one catch for 15 yards? I think I gained more yards than Darren Cook just on my couch jumping up and down. And I certainly had a better day throwing the ball than Kirk Cousins. Don, are you telling me, in Kirk we trust?
Well, Kirk is he's we were talking about Baker Mayfield earlier. You never know what you're gonna get from Kirk Cousins, but at least he's usually pretty consistent on when it comes to game time. I mean, you don't see him faltering like Baker Mayfield, even though sometimes he's a wild card. But I think it's the Giants. I think he'll be solid.
Let's see, where am I here? Okay. Rumor has it that the Panthers owner and Jim Harbaugh discussed the head coaching job. But should the Panthers keep Steve Wilkes as their head coach? Or do you think that Wilkes will end up as head coach somewhere else?
Well, the NFL is always a carousel. You just never know where people are going to land. And sometimes coaches will meet with owners as leverage. I mean, that could be a mirror, a sideshow. It could be smoke and mirrors. He could be thinking of going somewhere else and just using that as a leverage. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but it's happened before. But I think Harbaugh is looking for the perfect job for him. If it's not Michigan, if it's NFL, and I don't know if the Panthers. I don't know if that's the destination he wants to go to. I mean, I, I see him as more of a West Coast guy, like he was out in California. So I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to watch out and see.
Well, now let's kind of keep with this Harbaugh uh, thing here because, uh, as Demetrius mentioned, it seems like if there's a job that Harbaugh wants in the NFL, it's the coach job. But then you look at the coach personnel. I'm sure Matty Ice will be gone. We don't know. Well, T.Y. Hilton was gone, but we've seen. We haven't seen much in the development of Sam Ellinger, even though he's going to be starting again. Michael Pittman has a lot of upside, but then we come to Jonathan Taylor. Now we saw what the Panthers did uh, with McCaffrey in moving him to the 49ers. Do you think that uh, possibly that the coach could move on from Taylor and profit? I mean, and give Harbaugh a base to work with over the next few years instead of trying to get that immediate gratification that they've been seeking the last couple of years.
Well, what to do, Jonathan? I think it just depends on what's available. Free agency as far as running backs, the draft. Um, there's probably 3 or 4 running backs that will be taken in the first 3 rounds.
I'll just
So
say it. We know this is just a gratuitous opportunity for you to mention Bijan Robinson. Go on and do it. We know what's coming.
well, no, I'm just saying if I mean personally, I would keep Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a good fit. But if they were to trade him away, they have to have a backup plan. I mean, there has to be. I mean, especially if you're going to develop Ellinger, you need to have some help in that backfield so he can grow as a player. So, and a good running attack will do that. So, I'm not sure what the mindset is of people, trade their star player. But if that were to happen, that's the way I would do it.
What do you think about that, Demetrius? We've seen how it worked out for the 49ers. Of course, we don't know how it's going to, necessarily work out for the Panthers, but we have seen some, some signs that, it kind of worked out for both parties concerned. Do you think that the Colts will, I mean, especially when you think of, you know, I'm looking ahead to what you were saying about Harbaugh looking for that coach job. Uh, do you think that they could that they would trade Jonathan Taylor to ensure his future, or do you think that they're still seeking that instant gratification in Indianapolis?
Yeah. So I think that there's a high level. There's a series of questions. There's a series of bullet points. Way down the line is Jonathan Taylor. First, decide who you are. Right. Irsay can't be the face of your organization. He's effing that job up on a daily basis. So hire a president or GM or whatever that you want to call that job to be the face of your organization. From there, Let that guy decide how the organization wants to be run, who he wants his coach to be, and he hires a coach. From there, the third one is get your quarterback. Please get your quarterback. Right? I can't keep doing this. If you want to trade up to get Stroud, the area code for Allen Park, Michigan is 313. Brad Holmes will take the call. He will, because we're probably gonna wherever the Rams are. I think we're ahead of them. What I can't have after Rivers, Wentz, Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, I can't have a story about Derek Carr going to Indy. I don't want to hear we're taking a flyer on Geno Smith, right? And for everything that's holy in this world, I don't want to hear the name Jameis. I don't want to hear about Baker, and I don't want to hear about Taylor Heineke. That's what you got to stop. Before you get to Jonathan Taylor, clean up all that mess. Will Levis might be there for you at 6. So if you have scouted Will Levis and you think trade up to get Stroud. If the Rams lose, we might end up with the 4th pick. We'll make that move. We'll move from 4 to 7 so you can get Stroud if that's your guy. We have our quarterback. If you like Will Levis, wait at 6 or 7 wherever you are. He might be there for you. But do all that stuff first. And if you decide, because you had the second worst offense in the league, 31st, their offense. But if you address your quarterback, and if you go into the draft and get another player, another receiver to work opposite Pittman, you can improve your offense and you don't need to mess with Jonathan Taylor. You retire for 31st and you score 16 points a game. You score 16 points a game. You're going to trade Jonathan Taylor? Okay, so unless one of those higher level meetings says full-blown rebuild, Harbaugh shows up in the town, says full-blown rebuild, then you know what? You might as well trade Pittman, trade Zaire Franklin, because everybody could use a good linebacker, trade Shaquille Leonard, and do the whole thing. Do the whole thing. If that's what you're going to do. If you're in a meeting and the first thing on the agenda is, do we trade Jonathan Taylor? You're in deep trouble. You're in deep trouble. With the 31st ranked offense in the league, and you're going to trade a top 5 back when he's healthy, you might not understand football. That's all I'm going to say. You might not. So, no, somebody could give you a boatload of draft picks, right? And that's when you go into full rebuild mode. If somebody's going to give you a ridiculous haul, because tread on the running back's tires is only so much, and there's a case that could be made that 3 years from now, Jonathan Taylor is going to be done. I would listen to that conversation. You're going to have to offer me a lot to get him right now, because right now he's still in his prime, and I can make a case that he's one of the 3 best running backs in the league. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you're doing. Figure out what you're doing first. The Colts are just a mess. They're a hot mess of an organization. Figure out who you are first. Don't start making those decisions. Get the right GM in place. Get your quarterback. Get your coach. I wouldn't do it. I think if you had a good quarterback and a complimentary receiver to Pittman, you could go to middle of the pack offense, and in that division, which somebody's going to win that division in Jacksonville, Florida on Saturday with probably a 9-8 type of record, you can get right. You can flip this. You can be that team that goes from worst to first next year. So the shorter answer is I wouldn't trade Taylor. I would add a big play receiver in free agency or in the draft. I would settle my quarterback situation once and for all, which means Stroud or Levis, not Jameis Winston or Nick Foles or anybody. No disrespect. Those are all NFL players cashing huge checks, but not the answer for Indianapolis.
Demetrius, I'm going to let you kind of play MLK here because I'm going to keep talking with you here because I want to talk about the Lions. I believe when we talked to you last year, you said the Lions were 2 years away from being a good team. Now, granted, they have a hell of an offense, and they can put points on the board.
Yep.
Too bad they just can't stop no goddamn right. But anyway, would you say one that the Lions are ahead of schedule, and two, I got to talk to you about this game Sunday because I think, and you can talk about, Aaron Rodgers is a star and everybody wants it. But let's talk, let's talk about the game, the importance of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying that a Seahawk victory would not would make the Lions lay down. But if the Seahawks win, they're in. Period. Point blank. No questions about it. So, do you think that the NFL, and they're the ones that had the power to schedule this game, should have done the Green Bay Detroit Lions game first, and then let the chips fall where they may for the Seattle game? Or do you think that they're taking momentum away from the Lions by showing the Seahawks game first?
Um. So I love the question, and Don, I'm going to apologize because I need a minute. It's a lot to cover. I'm covering it all, by the way. So the short answer, the first question is easy. Yeah, they're ahead of schedule. I said they were going to be the 2023 North champs. They're early. Why are they early? Because I also said 6 months to a year ago, Brad Holmes needs to clean off some space on his mantle because there's an executive of the year trophy coming his way. He might get that this year. That core of that team is young players. They got a guy in the 6th round from an HBCU that has 8 sacks in 6 games. I'm going to repeat that because y'all might not have heard me. James Houston has 8 sacks, and he's only played 6 games, and he was a 6th round pick. Our starting linebacker, Malcolm Rodriguez, day 1 starter, 83 tackles, 6th round pick. Kirby Joseph, late third round pick, 77 tackles, 3 interceptions, starting. You know Aiden Hutchinson is in running for Rookie of the Year. Jameson Williams just come back. He's going to be a star. Brad Holmes killed this draft. I mean, crushed it. There are 6 contributing players on this roster from this past draft. I didn't even mention Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round pick from last year. The guys I talked about, Rodrigo and Houston, Kirby Joseph, these are all guys after the 3rd round. Guess what, guys? We got 5 of the top 85 picks coming. We got the Rams 1 and the Vikings 2. We got 5 of the top 85. So the executive of the year has 5 of the top 85 picks. Yeah, we're ahead. Next year, I'm going to be unbearable. You guys aren't going to want me on the crib next year because we're going to be really good. The talent is catching up to the culture. Dan Campbell built the culture. Brad Holmes is filling that culture with talent. And oh, by the way, it turns out we have our quarterback. So when we traded Stafford and Brad Holmes said, I wouldn't have done the deal without Goff. I love the picks, but I would not have done the deal without Goff. People mocked him. Even people in Detroit said, Carolina offered you the 9th pick and Teddy Bridgewater, you should have took it. He said, no, I used to work for the Rams. I scouted Jared Goff. I know who Jared Goff is, right? We're about to be dangerous, right? We're ahead of schedule. Whatever happens Sunday happens Sunday. Now, the thing about Sunday is this. I actually think Green Bay controls their destiny. So I think if Green Bay wins and Seattle wins, Green Bay goes. I think that's it. So what I think is the NFL doesn't give a damn about Detroit. They never have. It's fine. They made this the night game because they want to do this Sunday night, frozen tundra, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Aaron Rodgers bullshit. I don't care. Sorry, I don't. We're after dark. I'm fine. The NFL has never prioritized us. We get Thanksgiving Day and that's it. They're putting this game on so it can be about Aaron Rodgers. They assume Seattle's going to win because the Rams suck. And long term, we're fine if the Rams lose. Makes our draft pick higher. But if the Rams win, cool. Here's the deal. Dan Campbell's team ain't rolling over for nobody. We're going to show up. Dan Campbell doesn't give a damn about any of that. We're going to show up. And guess what? Quietly, we're better than the Packers. We're a better football team than the Packers right now. They've won some games. They beat the fraudulent Minnesota Vikings. They've beaten some bad teams. And Tua had a concussion. They beat Miami. They haven't played us. They haven't played us in 8-10 weeks. And we beat their ass back then. Sorry. So the quiet thing is we're about to spoil ESPN, Get Up. All their shows on Monday are going to suck. But they're going to do what they do. They're going to say the Packers lost. They're going to say the Packers offensive line played terrible because the Lions sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times. They're not going to get on there and go, oh, wait, Turns out the Lions are better. Right? We're going to make an announcement to the world Sunday night. We're about to own the North for the foreseeable future. And that's a whole bunch of cornbread, which I eat in heavy doses, and blue Kool-Aid. I wash it down with blue Kool-Aid. I know who I am. But guess what? I can give you data that shows it. I got a podcast. You can have it from April. I said they were going 9-8. I said they were going to win in Lambeau at the end of the year. I did say they were a year later. I did not know Hutchinson was such a good pick. Should be defensive rookie of the year. I didn't know Brad Holmes was going to get 3 starters in the fourth, and 1 in the fourth and 2 in the sixth. Didn't know that. I didn't know Jared Goff was going to ball out like one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. I missed that. I don't care. But I know what? We're about to. This is a pivotal moment. We talked about TCU earlier, and what this will do for that university. This is the game for my franchise. This is the game where we go to Lambeau. I don't care what they do. I don't care what Seattle does. This is not about the playoffs for us because we know what next year is. This is about going into Lambeau and showing America where we are as an organization, as a team, as a coaching staff, individual players. I could go down the list. I could talk to you about Jamal Williams, how Green Bay cast him off, drafted A.J. Dillon and cast him off. All he's done is put up 1,000 and leads the league in touchdowns and is one of the best locker room dudes in this league. Everybody in Allen Park, Michigan loves Jamal Williams, right? We're about to announce that the North belongs to us for the foreseeable. Minnesota's a fraud. This year, I don't care. Minnesota, I wish we were going to Minnesota for the playoffs because that would be beautiful. Minnesota's a fraud. We all know they're a fraud. And we're about to put Green Bay where they belong. They're the past now. We're about to end Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay because he's not coming back. He'll either retire or they'll move him. And this is what it is for my team, my fan base, the whole organization. We're about to announce that we own the North. That's what Sunday night is. And NBC, the NFL, ESPN, they can all want it to be this cute little Packer story, frozen tundra, blah, 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 blah. Yep, guess what? Guess what? We kiboshing all that. We're kiboshing all that. And next week on the crib, you get next level, asshole Demetrius, next week. Next level. Because I'm going to be amped. And I truly believe all that. And this data to support it. We have played as good a football in the last 10 weeks as any team in the league. Outside of one bad day in Carolina 2 weeks ago, I tell you, go back and look at our games. Look at Thanksgiving when we lost to Buffalo. We gave Buffalo everything they could handle. Minnesota got a fluke win against Buffalo, a fluke win early against us. They got smoked by Dallas. We smoked them in Detroit. They got smoked by the Packers. Minnesota's a fraud. Minnesota's a fraud, and they're going to probably lose at home in the first round to the Giants. I don't know. I'm looking forward to Sunday. Damn the NFL. Damn ESPN. We're bringing it.
Okay, we'll see. You'll either be the loudest guy here next week, or else you'll be eating humble pie. One of the two. We'll see.
I feel really good about Sunday night.
Okay. By the way, before we go on, I do owe my faithful Steeler fans an apology. I said a successful season for us would be 7-10.
Yep. I remember you saying 7 wins.
Yeah, I did. So perhaps Mike can keep his streak going on. And of course, since we're playing the Clowns, of course, you know which way I'm going here. So,
James, Mike Tomlin is a really good football coach. Mike Tomlin is a really, really good football coach, man.
I keep telling people, if you want to fire Mike Tomlin, tell me who's going to take his place.
I don't fire Mike Tomlin. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never fire Mike Tomlin.
I'm just saying, but when you start talking about firing Mike Tomlin,
right?
Tell me who you're going to replace him with.
And that's how you shut down that conversation, right? Anybody's going to say that to you, you shut that conversation down quickly.
Immediately, Don, Lance is going to have another ankle surgery. Should the 49ers maybe think about having a talk with Jimmy Porn?
I was waiting for that. That's so good. That's so good.
So let me tell you about the 49ers. So we were talking about how, the running backs help out a young quarterback. McCaffrey goes to the 49ers. Just as Jimmy G gets hurt and Brock Purdy comes in. I've seen Brock Purdy play the last few years in the Big 12. He beat Texas. I said, this kid's awesome. He was like a 2-3-star recruit. I said, I wonder if we'll go to the NFL. Sure enough, he's in the NFL and he's kicking ass. So I think that San Francisco is like probably the story of the year on the West Coast. I mean, those guys are playing pretty good football, and I don't know if Jimmy G will get his gig back. I don't know. I'm kind of a Jimmy G fan, but I just don't know if he'll be able to come back and win that spot.
What do you think, Demetrius?
No, they're built around defense. That's what they do. I think they've proven this year that Brock Purdy just walked into that system and is executing everything they need. I think their desire is for Trey Lance to get healthy and be their quarterback. But without Trey Lance, I think they're comfortable with Brock Purdy, and the porn star can go do whatever he wants. Somebody's going to offer the porn star a lot of money anyway. I mean, not because he's a porn star, but to play quarterback. To play quarterback. Maybe the Colts, right? That's right in the Colts' wheelhouse. I think the ankle needs to get better, but somebody's going to give G. Diddy a lot of money because they just buy it. I don't know why. I've never got it. So they'll bring back Brock Purdy and maybe draft a guy later, or just bring in a veteran backup on the cheap that if everything hits or if the ankle's not ready, somebody who can walk. But Purdy has earned the job. Brock Purdy's their quarterback. Brock Purdy's their quarterback. Until Trey Lance is healthy, Brock Purdy's your quarterback. The Jimmy G's days are done. But it's okay because, like you said, I think somebody's going to give him money, and if all else fails, he can go back to porn. So he'll be fine one way or not. But I don't see him as a 49er next year.
Don, you know, I'm thinking here, you know, if Jimmy G combines his connections and goes to Robert Kraft with the proper business plan, they could open up a string of houses in Florida.
Here we go. Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, I'm just saying, you know,
creative thinking by Mr. King.
Yeah. You know, we're after dark. I'm just saying.
We are after dark. For sure now. Way after dark.
Do you say? Oh, just having a little fun, guys. All right, before we get into our predictions, Pro Football Focus names Jefferson, Nick Bosa, Kelsey, and Hill among their non-quarterback MVP candidates. Don, who would be your non-quarterback MVP candidates?
Oh,
non-quarterback? Well, excuse me.
Got him all choked up. Tough question.
Just make me blow my nose.
You want me to take it? Give you a minute?
Go.
I'll take it and give you a minute, Don. I'm going to help. Those are all good candidates, right? You could theoretically make a case for everybody on that list. But first and foremost, it's almost certainly going to be a quarterback. It's a quarterback award. They're going to give it to a quarterback. Working within sort of, you know, what you're trying to do here, I don't know if there's a player in the league that does what Tyreek Hill does. Tyreek Hill, it literally changes the game. He forces defenses to defend the field differently. Like nobody else. Everybody's trying to find Tyreek Hill. He by definition makes everybody else on the field better. He makes his quarterback better. He makes the other receivers better. He makes his running backs better. He makes the linemen better. I love Travis Kelce. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. I love Bosa. I don't know that there is anybody. You say, oh, if I have to take Tyreek Hill off the field, I can replace him with blank. There's no blank. As much as I like to say who? Deshaun Jackson? Too old, probably. Similar vein. maybe Devontae Smith will grow into that in Philly. Maybe my guy Jamison Williams is going to be that down the line. Right now, Tyreek Hill's simply irreplaceable. There's nobody in the league who can do what Tyreek Hill does. You can't replace. So by the award, most valuable, because of what he forces defenses to do, because of how he makes his quarterback better, his other receivers better, and there's just nobody else who can do it. I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill.
Don, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry.
No, bro, you showed up. You showed up and fighting through. You don't got to apologize at all.
Non-quarterback.
You're not. You're not confined to just these guys. Don.
Yeah. I think someone who's played well, been kind of overlooked, is a guy named Micah Parsons, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think he's had a great year. Like Demetrius said, Tyreek Hill. I mean, you always have to count for him. You talk about MVP, the guy that you can count on the clutch to win a game. The kicker for the Chargers, Cameron Dicker. He's had like 4 game winners, and so you can go all kind of. I don't think a kicker's ever won MVP, but probably never will.
Yeah.
But I like Michael Parsons. I like I'm a defensive guy, so we'll go there.
It's a creative outside the box choice. I didn't even consider defense. Well, they're going to give it to a quarterback most likely because they always do. But I didn't even think about defense. Micah's a fantastic choice.
Well,
I stayed in the offensive box.
Bosa's on there, so I mean,
Well, Bosa wasn't really in consideration for me. He's a great player. But if I had to rank the list you have, it's Tyreek, it's Kelsey, it's Jefferson, and Bosa really. Because I don't think defense is realistic. But if it was defense, I think Micah's a great choice, actually.
Yeah. I think the winner will either be probably Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen when it comes right down to it. But not quarterbacks. I like Tyreek. I like Micah Parsons.
I think it's Jalen Hurts' award now. If they want to penalize him for being injured, I guess they can go a different route. If you force me to choose now, it's Jalen Hurts' award because we can all say, we thought Philly was going to be good. He is, for the most part, the reason for everything. I mean, take him off the team and they're a different team.
Well, I'm going a different direction, guys, because I'm going to mention 4 names, and then you guys tell me who I think is the MVP. Scanlon, Paco, McKinnon, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay, so you're talking Kansas City. Yeah, okay.
I'm talking Patrick Mahomes.
I got you.
With if you compare what he has to work with this year as compared to what he had to work with in years past.
I got you. And you're saying he's the weapons he has in Smith-Schuster and Pacheco, McKinnon are not equal to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith,
right.
Miles Sanders. You're right.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good point too. Right now that I think about it, I mean, if you're really sitting down evaluating this, but you know what the problem is?
That he has Kelsey. That's the problem.
It's Kelsey, right? He has Kelsey,
that's the problem.
And it's too easy to just give it to Patrick Mahomes. Because you could, in theory, give it to Patrick Mahomes in a lot of years. And when somebody else like Jalen Hurts comes out and makes a case, you tend to want to be different and not just give it to the same guy. Yeah. But I can't really debate your Patrick Mahomes. That's a good call.
All right, guys. Let's get to our predictions here. The way this goes, Demetrius, is I give you the teams and the spread. According to ESPN, Pigskin Pick'em.
Yep.
And so we're going to start out this week with the Chiefs minus 7.5 at the Faders, aka the
Raiders. Surprised the spread's not bigger. I don't believe in tanking. But I don't know why Derek Carr's not playing quarterback for the Raiders. So I'll leave that where that is. I'd lay the points. I'd lay more than that. For all the reasons you just said, the Chiefs have arguably the MVP. I believe they probably have the best coaching staff in the league. I like their head coach, but I also like their coordinators. The Chiefs should win this game by double digits. I'll lay 7.5 to the Raiders. With who's playing quarterback for the Raiders again? Do we know? See, three smart dudes about football. And we don't know who the Raiders quarterback is doing. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't.
It's unfortunate.
Once they got off Carr, I wasn't really.
Yeah, 7.5 seems like not enough. So.
Okay, what about the Titans getting 6.5 playing at the Jaguars, Demetrius?
I'm taking those points. We talked about this earlier. I understand Dobbs is playing quarterback, but I think that weather not an issue because I think that game is in Jacksonville, Florida. I watched the Jacksonville team get dominated by the Detroit Lions 3 weeks ago because we ran the ball down their throat. We dominated that game at the line of scrimmage. Tennessee has the capability to do exactly that. Dominate the game at the line of scrimmage. You neutralize their offense, i.e. Trevor Lawrence. You make them a team where the defense is on the field for longer periods of time than they want. Okay, without going into a whole soliloquy, you're giving me Derrick Henry plus 6.5 in good weather. I'm taking the Titans.
Let's see. Two teams we don't know anything about because the odds haven't been put out yet.
And you don't really give a damn about either one of these teams anyway, so we could just skip over them. Right?
But the other game is also what's the other game? The Pats and the Bills.
Right.
Those the odds haven't been given out for those two yet, so we'll skip those. So Don, the Chiefs giving the Faders 7.5. Who you got?
Got the Chiefs.
The Titans getting 6.5 from the Jags.
I'm not as confident in this one, but I'll go with the Titans.
Okay, Don, the Buccaneers getting 2.5 from the flightless Falcons.
Hey, Brady is playing a little bit better last few weeks, so I go with the Bucks.
Okay, Don, sticking with you, the Chargers versus the Walking Horses, aka the Broncos.
Cameron Dicker kicks another game winner, so Chargers.
Okay.
He's on that kicker. I love it. I love that kicker.
Demetrius, the Buccaneers against the flightless Falcons.
So if I'm to understand this, Atlanta is favored over Tampa?
No. Yeah. Atlanta is.
Oh yeah, I'm
taking by 2.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa in the points.
Okay. The Chargers are giving the Broncos.
Yeah, I'll lay the 3.5. Denver is a dumpster fire.
Okay. Now here's something that really, I mean, I understand Hurts is not.
It's amazing.
Playing, and I don't know. Maybe Daniel Jones is vacationing with Aaron Rodgers, and they're having a good smoke and a good laugh together. But Demetrius, the Giants giving the Eagles 13.5.
Okay.
At Philadelphia.
So that should be minus 13.5 is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, the Giants are favorite. Okay, I'm not giving anybody 13.5 in the National Football League. My feeling about the league in general is it's like a bell curve. There's 3 really crappy teams, and they're like Houston and maybe the Rams, couple really bad teams. There's a couple of really, really good teams. And everybody else is in a bell curve, and on a given day, they can beat each other. Nobody, even without Jalen Hurts, it's 13 points better.
I think Hurts. They're expecting Hurts to play. It is the Giants are getting 13.5.
Okay, so I'm going to say that's still a lot of points. I'm sorry, I can't give whoever is getting the points. That's who I'm taking. I'm not giving anybody 13.5 in the NFL. It could be a blowout, but it's the NFL. Those guys are professionals too. And it's 2 playoff teams. You're telling me 2 of the best 8 or 10 teams in the league is a 13-point gap? No, I'm taking the points. Whoever's getting the 13, that's who I'm taking. If the Giants I guess the game's in Philly, Hurts is going to play. Nope, I still take the 13.5. Sorry, you're going to blow them out. I just don't think you do that.
Okay, the Panthers giving the Aints 3.5, playing at the Saints. Demetrius.
Oh, okay. So in theory, if the home team gets 3 points, they think the Panthers are basically a touchdown better than the Saints. Now, I watched the Panthers manhandle my Lions 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna lay the points. Panthers are not a bad football team. They're not. I'm gonna take the Panthers and give the Saints 3.5 at home. All right, I'm taking the Panthers and laying the points. Fine.
Don?
Are we gonna review this next week, or we're just gonna forget about this, right? No, we can go back over it. I don't feel good about my choices so far.
Don, are you willing to give the Giants 13.5?
No.
Right?
But I like the Eagles in this one, but not 13. No.
That's a lot of points, man.
That's a lot of points.
What about the Panthers giving 3.5 to the Saints, Don?
Where are they playing? Oh, they're playing at the Saints, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might regret that one. I feel like I might regret that one.
Don, the Clowns giving my Steelers 3.5 at Pittsburgh.
What?
With a winning season on the line. What's your thoughts?
I am not
Locker
going to
room material.
I'm
That's
not
my thoughts.
I'm not going to pick against Tomlin. So go Steelers.
Let's see. Don, the Texans plus 2.5 against the Geldings. I mean the Colts.
Oh, that's going to be an ugly game. I'll go Colts. I have no faith in the Texans.
You know we're on tape there, Don, right?
No.
Make sure you say the Texans, not Texas, right?
No.
He said Texans. I heard this.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's a bit of a cough.
Right.
Okay. Demetrius, the Clowns against the Steelers, giving the Steelers 3.5.
I don't even understand that line. Did I miss something? Is Cleveland better than I think? No, I'm taking the Steelers. Keep it simple. I'm taking the Steelers 3.5 at home. Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers.
The Texans giving the Colts 2.5.
So I really want to give a speech. Shame on you for even making me and Don pick this game. That's just kind of rude, honestly. Man, I don't know. That's 2 really bad football teams. That's 2. So it's in Indianapolis. I can't pick the Texans. They're literally the worst team in the league. I'm going to take the Colts laying 2.5. And I don't. That's a horrible game. Okay, yeah, I'll take the Colts. I don't know why.
Okay, the prop planes, aka the Jets, are giving 2.5 to the Flounders. I mean the Dolphins. Demetrius.
I don't love this one either. I'm gonna be honest. But so Tua's got a concussion. He's not playing, right?
Right.
Who's the quarterback? 2 Gloves?
Yeah.
Wait, okay. I think it's Teddy 2 Gloves. I like 2
No,
Gloves.
as a matter of fact, I think Teddy's out. I think it's that third string quarterback that they played the other week.
Then I'm going to take the prop planes and the 2.5.
You're going to give the 2.5.
So wait, who's favorite?
The prop planes.
The prop planes are favorite. Okay,
Since there's no Tua.
I'm taking the prop planes either way. Yeah, I'm taking the prop planes and I'm laying the 2.5.
Okay, Demetrius, the Oarsmen. I don't know if we can call them Vikings anymore.
Frauds.
Against the bad news Bears.
But I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the Bears because Minnesota is a fraud. And Justin Fields isn't playing though. Never mind. No, I'll take the Vikings. Game's in Chicago though, and Minnesota's a fraud. Man, this is tough. This is tough. I don't know what to. I'm taking the Vikings. If Justin Fields doesn't play, the Bears literally have nothing. So I'm gonna take The fraudulent oarsman. That's what I'm calling
Don, the prop planes against the Flounders.
Ooh.
it. Exactly. Ooh, that's exactly right.
They're playing in Miami.
In
So
Miami.
I'll,
Tua's not playing.
no, so I'll go. Two's not playing. I'll go Jets.
Uh, the Oarsmen against the Bad News Bears.
Hmm. I'll go Vikings.
Okay. Uh, the Fledglings, aka the Cardinals, are getting 13 and a half from the 49ers. Don, who
I
you
don't
got?
like. I like that 13 again. I don't like it.
Too big. Too big.
But if a team is going to lose, and this is a game where Purdy and McCaffrey might go off. So I'll take the 13 points.
Okay. The U's, Don, better known as the Rams, getting 6.5 from the Seahawks.
Mm. I'll go Seattle.
Okay. Demetrius, the Cardinals against the 49ers, that 13 and a half.
Yeah, so forget all that bullshit I said earlier. I'm with Don. I'm laying the. They can have those points. That's gonna be ugly. The gap is too wide there. 13 is appropriate. 13 might be low. Actually, 49ers defense is good. That's gonna be an ugly day for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and I believe there's still no Kyler Murray, right?
No Kyler Murray. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Rams and the Seahawks, Demetrius.
My
Rams getting
heart.
6.5.
Yeah, I'm going with my heart. I need the Rams to win this game outright. I don't give a damn about the points. I need them to win this game outright. So I'm going with the Rams.
Demetrius, the Cowboys getting 3.5 against the Commanders. And Heineke is not the starter. No, Heineke is
Whoa.
starting.
Yeah.
Heineke is starting.
We did the Carson Wentz experience. We recognize our errors. Dallas is the better team. Yeah, I'm going to take Dallas. We don't got to do this one. We don't got to do this.
I was going to say it.
You know how this is going. We all know what's going to. I could do a whole speech if y'all want me to, but we know what I'm doing with the last game.
Don, the Cowboys getting 3.5 against the Commanders.
I'll take the Cowboys.
Shocking.
And the Lions getting 4.5 playing the Packers, Don.
Do the right thing, Don.
I like this game a lot better if it would be played in Detroit, but you know
it's
what?
Okay.
Screw it. Okay. I'll take the Lions.
You will be rewarded in heaven, my friend.
Well, Don,
I'm thinking with my heart, not my brain. But yeah,
and that's it. And that's how you should be done.
All understandable. All understandable. Don, good having you back. And
it's good having Demetrius back.
It's good to be back, guys. This is good. I needed this. My soul needed this.
Don, give us your final thoughts, and then Demetrius, we'll let you take us home.
All right.
Ooh, final thoughts. Well, football season's coming to an end. What I consider football season. High school's done in Texas. I think there's an all-star game at the Alamo Dome Saturday, All-American. But college football is almost done. So I'm going to go probably first part of February. I'll be in some kind of funk, depression, whatever. But then you got spring ball coming up.
Right. Spring ball's right at that.
Is it XFL or USFL that's going to be playing in the spring? So
it's a USFL. Their second season. Yeah.
I'm going to be trying to catch on to a team there. But it's good seeing you guys. I'm going to go take a few shots of NyQuil, and I'm going to bed.
Good.
My
Good
throat
idea.
is on fire right now.
Hey,
Yeah.
glad you could join us, Don. Make that sacrifice. That's all right, man.
Yeah,
Rub some dirt on it, Don. You know
yeah,
how we used
Yeah.
to do.
we appreciate you stepping up, bro. Good to see you. My final thoughts, as always, the way I do it, I recognize somebody, right? And the dude over my right shoulder, you guys know how I feel about him. It's always that's my guy. But there's one point in his career that I didn't love, right? Some guys deserve the beatdowns they got, right? Ezra Charles, all he said was say my name. If Ezra Charles would have said the man's name, he would have avoided that beating.
That was Floyd Patterson.
No, that's where I'm going now.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's where I'm going now. Today is Floyd Patterson's birthday, and it is for me, and I love boxing. I like to go back and watch anything I can get my hands on, old footage, right? And he took two prolific beatdowns from Sonny Liston in 62 and 63. He had a great trilogy with Ingemar Johansson before that. So that would have been probably 60, 61. But people might not know he was in the Olympics at 17, maybe in the 1952 Olympics, won a gold medal as a middleweight, which I still think was what 160, James, then middleweight.
Yeah.
160. Yeah. Yep. But he had fight of the year in 1965 with George Chuvalo. That was early in the year. Problem was later that year, they made him the number one contender, and he made a statement to Muhammad Ali, something to the effect of, this is like a crusade to reclaim the title from a black Muslim. And so I love Muhammad Ali for a lot of reasons. This fight was not one of them. It was not. Because what he did to Floyd Patterson in that fight. They actually fought later. Patterson's last fight was against Ali in like 72 or something. But this is in like November of 65. And it stays with me. It always stays with me because I watched it. I got a hold of the footage. And it was, simply put, the toughest watch. And I like boxing. I can get past the idea of it, but it's a science. It's an art. I get it. Some people think, oh, it's just. I see it differently. I've always been a huge fan. This was just tough to watch. It was just tough to watch. Ali mocked him. It was. Somebody had a saying about a child playing with a stuffed animal or something, right? And I don't remember it right, but there's very few times when I've watched a boxing match I'm uncomfortable watching this. There was a point in time where I almost had to stop it, but I'm such an Ali buff. I've probably seen every fight that was recorded multiple times. That's how much I like that guy. This one always made me feel uncomfortable because Floyd Patterson was a great fighter. By all accounts, he was a good guy. They had their differences personally, and Ali was, honestly, Cassius Clay for sure. He held grudges. He was petty. He didn't forget anything, right? And he took that stuff seriously. It mattered to him. So I do want to acknowledge, like, just Floyd Patterson on his birthday. I think he still holds the record as the youngest world champ, world heavyweight champ,
I think
world heavyweight champ, right?
The youngest, world heavyweight.
When he beat Archie Moore, right?
Yeah.
He was like 21 and something. So he deserves to be mentioned, like, in the greats. But honestly, for me, it's just so uncomfortable. That fight in 65 with Ali shouldn't have been recorded. As much as I love Ali, I kind of wish I never saw that fight because it was tough. But Floyd Patterson was a great fighter. Had a 20-year career. Did a lot of good stuff. So just my final thoughts will go to Floyd Patterson on his birthday. And I wish my guy hadn't done that. I really do. But I mean, it happened. What do you do? Hey, man, I'm glad to be back, by the way. It's good to see you, Don. You manned up tonight.
Likewise.
I heard my boy Ranger in the background earlier giving his thoughts, which is always cool. Mr. King, you know I always love this. Well, from the first time we met and you say you want to do this, I was like, this is what I was born to do. Is sit around and talk about sports. There's few things in the world I enjoy more than this. So I'm glad that God has blessed my life and got me back to a place where I get to do it. I appreciate you guys moving it to Wednesday. It's a big help for me. And I'm looking forward to being a total a-hole next week when the Lions beat down the Packers. And if the Rams do their job and I'm on this thing talking about a Lions playoff game, oh, we're going 3 hours. We're going 3 hours. For sure. I won't have a short answer. We're going 3 hours.
Oh man, see now, it'll be even longer if my Steelers make the playoffs
Right?
after I predicted them to go 7-10.
I know.
So,
We'll just do Cowboys, Steelers, Lions for 3 hours. We'll drop in a Bijan reference because I really want the Lions to take Bijan with their second first-round pick. I love that kid. For the record, Mr. Hayes, I love that kid. I want him in blue and silver next year.
Bijan has some Barry Sanders in him.
Yeah.
He's
That
shifty.
kid's going to be special. Teams are going to regret not taking him. I'm seeing him projected at 18, 19, 20. I'm thinking, holy crap, that's where the Lions' second pick is going to be. And if we get the defender we need up top at 4 or 5, and he's on the board at 18, I'm running the card up there. Jamal Williams is a free agent, although I love him and want to re-sign him. And DeAndre Swift has injury problems. Love him too. When he's healthy, he's great. But I don't care. Bijan is the next coming. I don't want to miss the boat on that guy. Now, I don't even know if he's going to be there at 18 or wherever we pick. If he is, I'm all over him. I will hook the horns. I'll do whatever Don Hayes tells me to do to get that kid in Allen Park, Michigan. So,
all right. Well, hey, have a great night, guys.
all right, guys.
Good first show, and look forward to talking to everybody next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Don, get better, man.
Yeah, go take some medicine. Get some rest, bro.
All right, bye-bye.
All right,
guys.
Well, that was our first broadcast of 2023. Hope you enjoyed it. Glad to have Demetrius back. And we'll see you next week right here at the Sports Crib.